The conventions are finally over, hallelujah, and now the election campaign begins between Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump. And this race could be a very nasty and a very close one for the White House.
No doubt about that. Well, on the last night of the Democratic convention, Clinton promoted herself as someone who is steady and tested in an uncertain world, while attacking Donald Trump as unfit to be president. Jennifer Wishon brings us the story from Philadelphia.
American flags waving, tears in the audience flowing, Hillary Clinton took a long victory walk. For her, this moment took a long time. For her supporters, they say, a woman's place is in the White House.
Standing here as my mother's daughter and my daughter's mother, I'm so happy this day has come. I'm happy for grandmothers and little girls and everyone in between. I'm happy for boys and men, because when any barrier falls in America, it clears the way for everyone. After all, when there are no ceilings, the sky's the limit.
The 68-year-old has been in public service for 40 years. In Philadelphia, for the first time, she got to introduce herself to the nation in a way like never before.
The truth is, through all these years of public service, the service part has always come easier to me than the public part.
Clinton worked to paint herself as a unifier in divided times, a tested leader who can handle the volatile world, and a policy wonk who knows how to get things done. She aggressively went after her Republican rival Donald Trump, urging the nation not to fall for his sweeping promises.
He's taken the Republican Party a long way, from morning in America to midnight in America. He wants us to fear the future and fear each other.
The line in her speech most tweeted was, "A man you can bait with a tweet is not a man we can trust with nuclear weapons."
Donald Trump says, and this is a quote, "I know more about ISIS than the generals do." No, Donald, you don't.
In response, Trump tweeted, "Our way of life is under threat by radical Islam, and Hillary Clinton isn't even bringing herself to say the words." He also spent the day on the stump fighting back.
They're not talking about the real world, you know. They're not talking about radical Islamic terrorism. They're not talking about borders where people just pour across. They're not talking about the crime, the kind of crime that we have in this nation. They're not talking about the fact that many people in our country are making less money today in terms of real wages than they were making 18 years ago. They're not talking about that.
Clinton also took on her other political foe, a divided Democratic Party.
Bernie, your campaign inspired millions of Americans.
In the audience, Sanders supporters protested her nomination, wearing glow-in-the-dark shirts, interrupting her multiple times. While the Clinton faithful shouted them down, she responded with an olive branch.
Bernie Sanders and I will work together to make college tuition free for the middle class and debt free for all.
And she explained how she'll pay for it.
Wall Street, corporations, and the super rich are going to start paying their fair share of taxes.
It was a night of girl power, with Democrat women of the Senate taking turns explaining what Clinton has meant to them.
She said, "Decisions are being made every day in Washington, and if you are not part of those decisions and you don't like what they decide, you have no one to blame but yourself." Hillary believes that to her core.
And the one Sanders supporters preferred over running mate Senator Tim Kaine gave Clinton a thumbs up.
For 25 years, she's been on the receiving end of one attack after another. But she doesn't back down. She doesn't whine. She doesn't run to Twitter to give people's ugly nicknames. And she sure as heck doesn't quit.
Chelsea Clinton introduced her mom, painting a personal portrait of the woman who always made time for her.
I hope that my children will someday be as proud of me as I am of my mom.
Hillary Clinton acknowledged some people don't know what to make of her. Millions of people watching at home have serious concerns about her character and trustworthiness.
Now America is once again at a moment of reckoning. Powerful forces are threatening to pull us apart. Bonds of trust and respect are fraying. And just as with our founders, there are no guarantees. It truly is up to us. We have to decide whether we will all work together so we can all rise together.
Now the stage is set. Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump meet for the first of their 3 debates September 26th. Let the fireworks begin. Jennifer Wishon reporting from the Democratic National Convention in Philadelphia.
I don't know if it's going to be fireworks or artillery. It seems to be shaping up to be quite a slugfest. Well, our CBN News political correspondent, David Brody, he's with us now from Philadelphia. And David, who was the winner last night? It seemed like the crowd was really won over by Chelsea Clinton's speech. Did she win over the Sanders delegates?
Well, I think the fact that Chelsea Clinton started the speech out with talking about how her mom is a grandma, that started to soften her at the beginning. And I think that was somewhat jarring for a lot of folks, like, Hillary Clinton grandma. Yeah, never quite put those 2 words together. And I think that helps her for sure. Look, Hillary Clinton's speech was well received. He's not Barack Obama. He's not Joe Biden. And quite frankly, Tim Kaine performed very well as well. So, I mean, Hillary Clinton is who Hillary Clinton is. And so that's all you can really hope for with her. I will say this, though. There were quite a few, at least 10 to 12 or so. We counted them, tried to at least. Bernie Sanders protesters actually shouting out during their speech. If you notice, you heard a lot of Hillary chants, Hillary, Hillary. They were drowning out the Bernie Sanders supporters. So there are no doubt folks still out there very frustrated with Hillary, and they were wearing T-shirts that said enough is enough. As a matter of fact, those Hillary signs that they were holding out, or handing out, a lot of those Bernie Sanders supporters were actually taking the Hillary letters and changing it to liar. They would take the H-I and get rid of that and take the L, and then they put the I and the A and the R together and make it liar. So, I mean, there's some unity work to be done, Gordon.
Well, I was watching on TV. We didn't see any of that on television. Was that just hidden from the cameras?
Yeah, I mean, you have to kind of go into the Twitter universe and, of course, be in the arena like we were last night, and you will see that. And, of course, the mainstream media isn't necessarily going to go out of their way to show what they will say are just a smattering of, or, just a handful of protesters that were doing that. And that is true. There weren't many, but there were enough to make it a bit uncomfortable and make the message clear that Hillary Clinton has some work to do ahead of her.
All right, well, I'm grateful the conventions are over, so let's turn to the general election. What do you think are going to be the main themes from both parties?
Well, it's interesting. I think what we've seen here, covering the Republicans, now covering the Democrats, look, there are 2 ways you win the White House. One, you either win on optimism or you are the change candidate. And look what we have here. We have Hillary Clinton and the Democrats this week painting an optimistic picture of America and that she's the one that can get it done. And then you have Donald Trump coming in. The Democrats will call it doom and gloom. Trump will call it, hey, it's realistic America, and basically say, I'm the change candidate. So you have a formula for success on the Republican side, the change candidate. You have a formula for success on the Democratic side, which is the optimism type candidate. The question is, which one is going to win out? I will say this, that I don't think there's any question about it that the momentum here is with Donald Trump. We have seen not only that bump in the polls that he got from the Republican National Convention, but if you start to look into the swing states, he is now up in Florida. He is tied in Ohio. There are some other swing states out there. The point is that there have been 2 movements in this country, the Bernie Sanders movement, the Donald Trump silent majority movement. Hillary Clinton doesn't really necessarily have any sort of movement. She just has people going along with her because, well, she's been around for quite a few decades.
Well, if I were handicapping this race, and I was at the start of the year, I just thought Trump had an uphill battle. If you're not going to get women to vote for you. You're not going to get millennials to vote for you. You're not going to get Hispanics to vote for you. It's going to be tough to win the presidency. Now it seems like there's this whole outsider movement, and whether that's what happened in Great Britain with Brexit or what happened with Bernie Sanders or even what happened with Donald Trump and the Republican Party, there just seems to be, we need somebody absolutely new to the political system, and that seems to be governing the day. What's your prediction on the key battleground states? Is Pennsylvania going to be up for grabs on this one?
It is going to be up for grabs. As a matter of fact, some new polling has just come out this morning showing actually Hillary Clinton with right now at least a 9-point lead in Pennsylvania. That seems a bit high. It had been much closer before that. And as a matter of fact, in the next day or two, Hillary Clinton and Tim Kaine will be going into Pennsylvania for the next 2 days. Donald Trump will be out in Colorado. He'll spend time in Florida. Florida is going to be a huge swing state. Look, there are 4. There's Florida, there's Ohio, there's Pennsylvania, and I'm sure I'm forgetting another one because I'm working on a couple hours sleep. But no, there are key, I think I said Ohio, Pennsylvania, Florida, and Virginia. That's the other one. And obviously Tim Kaine clearly chosen at least one of the reasons that they're going to park him in Virginia, where he's relatively popular, obviously, as a former governor there. You know all about that, Gordon.
I do, and I actually predict they're going to not park him in Virginia. They're going to park him in Florida and have him give lots of speeches in Spanish. So it may turn out to be yet another Florida election, which is all the way back to 2000, and hopefully we're not going to have any hanging chads, and we're actually going to know who is elected president at the close of this election. I, for one, will be very grateful when it's over. But David, you're going to be on the field, and you're going to be giving us wonderful reports. So thanks for being with us. And if you want to keep up with what David is doing on the campaign trail, he has this weekly program called The Brody File, and you can watch it at cbnnews.com.